Okay, here we have some very interesting problems to finish out this lesson with. So here on our first one we have the square root of the fourth root of x to the third. Well, let's just take this one step at a time. If we ignore that this square root is here and we just had the fourth root of x cubed, we could rewrite that using fractional exponents. So that would be x to the 3/4 power. Remember, the power goes on top, the root goes on bottom. But now we can't really ignore that square root is there. So technically, we still have that underneath the radical. Well, the square root is the same thing as saying the 1/2 power. So I could rewrite this as x to the 3/4 raised to the 1/2 power. And now let's see, what can we do? Well, we have that exponent rule that says power to power you multiply. So that would be x to the 3 times 1 would be 3, and 4 times 2 would be 8. So this would be x to the 3/8 power. That is as simple as we're going to be able to get it, because we don't know, the 8th root of x or any of that kind of business. So we're done at this point. Not too bad. Okay, here we have another one. This one's going to be very interesting. Looking at this problem, we can't take the square root of 6. We can't take the fourth root of 36. Those are not perfect square or fourth powers. So how about if we change it over to a fractional exponent and see what we can do from there? So the square root of 6, let's change that to 6 to the 1/2 power. And our fourth root of 36, let's change that to 36 to the 1/4 power. Now, remember, at each step of the way, we're going to just see what it is that we can do. And do you notice that 6 and 36 are very close to each other? I mean, 36 is a power of 6, isn't it? Could I rewrite 36 as, well, not a straight line, but as 6 squared? Absolutely. So that would be 6 squared to the 1/4 power. And on top, I'm going to leave my 6 to the 1/2. Okay, now, remember, reevaluate at each step. Figure out what it is that you can do. Here we have a power raised to a power. So we're really supposed to multiply those, right? I'm going to come right down here. And 2 to the times 1/4. If you need to come out to the side even, you could always do that. 2 times 1/4. Look, 2 would cancel into 4 2 times, so that's really 1/2, isn't it? So that would leave us on bottom with 6 to the 1/2 power. And on top we have 6 to the 1/2 power. Now what happens when we have the same thing over itself? That's always a 1. Or you could look at it slightly different. You could look at it using your exponent rules. When we divide like bases, we subtract the exponents. So that would be the same thing as saying 6 to the 1/2 minus 1/2 power. And 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0. So that would be 6 to the 0 power. And then you have an exponent rule also that says anything to the 0 power is 1. So again, looking at it, in some different ways, we end up with the exact same answer. You just have to follow your exponent rules. Don't make anything up. But as long as you know all those rules, then you can use any one of those that you happen to see that happens to be apparent to you. And as long as you're using those valid math rules, you'll always get the answer correct.